Hello, all the cricket. This is Yuvraj Dua, and you're watching SportsTiger presents Week with Monty Panesar. And of course, I have with me the legendary left-arm orthodox Monty Panesar. Monty, we're in the fourth week right now of this Indian T20 league. How has it been for you since the 3 weeks have passed?
Yeah, look, I think since we had the back-to-back run chases of 200 plus and Virat Kohli this weekend producing the way we know Virat Kohli can bat, that 90 runs, it really has I think people are now beginning to sort of take a lot more interest in the IPL because we're beginning to see certain patterns, and we know that Mumbai Indians seem to be the strongest, but it's surprising to see that Punjab Kings 11 are bottom of the table after having such close matches. I don't think that's a true reflection of where they should be in the table, but it just again it just shows that in the IPL, why is this the best league in the world? It's because such exciting games, and someone like, if Punjab Kings 11 had luck going their way, they'd probably be in the top four right now, such close results, but it's just so difficult to win a game in the IPL.
Definitely, I think the standard of cricket just keeps going up and up. The games are getting closer and closer. And as you mentioned, a bit of luck on your side, the results would have been different. Right now, they're firmly at the bottom of the table, which is not a nice sight for any cricket fan. Let's quickly start talking about the games. First of all, we'll start with the 19th match, which is the third week, of course. Bangalore versus Delhi. So in this match, of course, Delhi got to 196 for 4 in the first innings, and Stoinis scoring 53 of 26 with 6 boundaries and a couple of sixes. This was his second 50 in this tournament so far. Has Marcus Stoinis been a revelation in this tournament, or was it expected from him?
I think it's been a good signing for him going to Delhi Capitals. He's able to I think Ricky Ponting is probably getting the best out of him, and I don't think we haven't seen the best of him yet, but I think that sort of bowling a couple of overs, hitting a few sixes at the back end, it's probably, I think we're seeing bits of Stoinis. I think there's much more to come, but he's still doing a very, very good job for Delhi Capitals.
I think he's been fabulous, and he's one player that can turn around matches in a jiffy, in a very short period of time. Of course, this match, Bangalore lost by 59 runs and Delhi came out on top very easily. Let's move on to the next game, of course, which is Mumbai versus Rajasthan. This was at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium. Mumbai, of course, got 193 for 4 in the first innings. Surya Kumar Yadav, 79 of 47 with 11 fours and 2 sixes. One thing I really liked in this innings was not many sixes. 11 boundaries we saw. Even if the ground is big, I think Surya Kumar Yadav demonstrated there you can still find boundaries by finding gaps and piercing gaps. How good was he in that innings?
Yeah, he was really good, and that's one of the things. There's an art in how you go and find the boundaries and the gaps. Initially, when I've seen so many players who seem to hit the fielders and then they give it in the air. So yeah, it's great to see.
Do you think now Rajasthan has found their feet in this tournament, or the right combination? Because I think they were struggling a bit with Uthappa not performing for them, Steve Smith and Sanju Samson going consecutive innings without scoring substantial runs. Were they looking in a bit of trouble?
Look, I still think Rajasthan Royals, don't know what their sort of best. They know their best 11, but they don't know their batting order. Ben Stokes at top of the order. I think it's a good little plan with Joss Buttler. I'm sure they'll go with that for a few games and see how it goes. They're a dangerous team. If they start firing and they start clicking, they could easily sort of win a few games and suddenly, be at top of the table. They're a team that you can't take your eyes off, because they've got such great T20 players, and with Jofra Archer, who is actually bowling quick, and his pace. I think one thing that surprised us is the pace bowling. The pace bowling is a real kind of Like, people are struggling, on these pitches. Batsmen are struggling with a bit of quick bowling, and Rajasthan Royals could be that team. When it comes to the playoff position, they could be that fourth team that gets that slot.
I think you have pretty much summed up Rajasthan for us this season. Let's move on to the next game, which was another dampener for Chennai. I have to tell you that. Kolkata getting 167 in the first innings of their 20 overs. And you might remember this game very vividly because Chennai required 78 runs in the last 10 overs. They still fell short by 10 runs. What is going wrong for Chennai this season? Why are they not able to catch up?
I think it's an aging team now. Shane Watson, Virender Jadeja, Darren Bravo, Ms Dhoni, they're all kind of aging players now. And I think age is beginning to catch up. Even Radi Adabatu is an aging young domestic player. So we could see a complete clear up, maybe next year. But I think that there is, people are still saying that the same group of players they'll keep because they're not going to have a big auction. So look, I just think Chennai Super Kings probably played better on the sort of red clay soil pitches in Chennai than in UAE, because it's just, look, I just believe that they haven't really fired, and they don't, like, they're not really sure. Should we keep? I think Dhoni should go one up. Dhoni should go at 4. Virender Jadeja at 5. Dwayne Bravo at 6. Sam Curran at 7. That should be the batting order. They should really push everyone up an order. I think they're coming too late. They've got so much firepower, but they just come too late, and it's too difficult to actually get the run chase. It's not like Indian pitches where you can get 50 of the last 3 or 4 overs. You can only do that if you're in form, and there isn't really one batsman apart from Shane Watson who's really found his feet.
Yeah, I agree with you on that point. They have seriously got their batting order wrong. Now Kedar Jadhav is of course out. They look better with Jagdishan in there, but they seem like a toothless tiger to me this season, if I may call them that. Let's move on to the next game after that. We talked about Kolkata and Chennai. Then of course came the Hyderabad versus Punjab game. The less we talk about the games of Punjab, I think the more the better, but let's still have a glance at it. Of course, 2-0-1 in the first innings for Hyderabad. Johnny Bairstow and David Warner got. Then Punjab 132 all out. It was a really sorry scorecard, I think. But again, one bright spot for Punjab has been Ravi Bishnoi again. I think we should again talk about him. How good has he been at such a young age? How do you manage to pull this off?
Look, I think with any young player, you need a good mentor, a life, not a life coach, but a good coach with you. And I think Anil Kumble and Ravi Bishnoi is a perfect combination. We've got another one of Shriya Iyer and Ricky Ponting. I think that this has been very good. I think the BCCI have strategically placed some of the Indian domestic players with certain teams because they want to see the development. They want to see these young players while they're in the IPL, not just to play in the excitement, but develop. Because eventually, they need a strong Indian B team. And at the moment, I think they could pick an Indian B11 of the young under-19 squad and the Ranji Trophy players, and I think that would be a very competitive team right now.
Definitely, I think this year we see so many young people, whether it's Kamlesh Nagarkoti, Shivam Mavi, Ravi Bishnoi. The bowlers are doing fabulously. The young Indian batsmen, Priyam Garg, Riyan Parag, we saw in the last game. And that's a very good observation that Saurav Ganguly might have placed them strategically and equally distributed them in all the teams just for a bright future. I think that's a very good ploy from BCCI. Let's move on to the next game, of course, Rajasthan versus Delhi at Sharjah. We saw an anomaly. Delhi got to 184 for 8 in the first innings at Sharjah, which is, I think, the housing ground for 200 plus scores. But in the second innings, Rajasthan 138 all out. What happened in this game? Did the pitch get drastically slower in the second game?
Look, I just think it's the bowling lineup of Delhi Capitals, with Rabada and his fellow South African, partner. I think both of them at the back end, especially the death overs, I think they're just far too quick for some of the batsmen who, when you're against a scoring rate, it's very difficult to put the likes of Rabada out into the stands. He bowls a heavy length and he bowls it quite quickly, and also he's a leading wicket taker at the moment. So it's going to be Delhi Capitals. It's going to be difficult. I think you've got to. If any team needs to beat Delhi Capitals, you need to score early, heavily, knowing that in the latter overs, you're not putting too much pressure on yourself when you've got the likes of the South African quicks tearing your head off. Because even yesterday, Kieran Pollard proven very difficult to get away with these fast bowlers. So that's maybe one little tip for me. If any coaches are listening to this, how to beat Delhi Capitals. Just get ahead of the run rate, because they always play catch up when they get their fast bowlers back.
I think what you're hinting towards that is that Delhi might be top contenders to lift this year's trophy, but still a long way to go. We're halfway through the tournament. Let's not glance so far ahead. Let's move on to the next games, of course. Then it was the doubleheader. Kolkata versus Punjab, another sordid story for Punjab. Then it was Virat Kohli versus Ms Dhoni, of course, where Bangalore won by 37 runs. The first game, KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal were going great guns. They required 71 in the last 8 overs. Did they fail to change gears early on in the innings? Was that their fault?
I think it's a lot of onus, isn't it? Like when you keep sort of performing every game, eventually you're going to have a game where you're not going to do so well. And I think, look, they got to 100 and they should have won that game quite comfortably. But to lose by 2 runs, it is disappointing. And I think Glenn Maxwell needs to perform with the bat. He's great energy in the field. He can bowl a couple of overs, but they desperately need him firing. So, I think if Punjab Kings are going to win, actually lost is actually, I don't want to sort of blame poor old Glenn Maxwell, but it always comes down to him to get him over the line. And he doesn't seem to do that. You either put him up the order at 3 and you say, right, just, we won't put you in that pressure situation, we'll replace with someone else. Or he needs to find a way, because he keeps sort of failing Punjab 11. He's always in a winning position and he can't get them over the line.
I genuinely think that you develop habits in this T20 game, and Punjab have developed a habit of losing. They're just not finding a way to get over the line, even if they get minutely close. Let's move on to the next doubleheader, which was yesterday, of course, Hyderabad versus Rajasthan. Rajasthan won by 5 wickets. Hyderabad got 158 for 4 in the first innings, and Rajasthan chased it down well. The only guy I want to talk about regarding this match is Rahul Tewatia. He's just become a match winner for them. How has he come up like this? What is this revelation that Rahul Tewatia has caused? How good does he look to you?
Look, he looks like a very confident cricketer, and reverse sweeping, Rashid Khan twice in the over. It takes a lot of courage, but it takes an attitude. It's that attitude of, I want to win that game for my team, no matter who's the bowler. And this is a real great sign, for Rajasthan Royals, because at one point it was a bit of a concern, thinking, it seems like Joss Buttler and and that's it. Joss Buttler and the team is, but now they've got some of the youngsters performing well. I think with Ben Stokes being back in the team, all we need is Ben Stokes to fire now, and I think Rajasthan Royals could be that sort of team, late acceleration, and it could just make it into the playoffs.
I think this is the time to do that, because Ben Stokes now has bolstered their chances more, and now they've got more than maybe a couple of match winners in their side. Whether it's Ben Stokes, Joss Buttler when he fires can be a match winner on any day. Rahul Tewatia is doing a really fine job with bat and ball and in field, so they look really good at the moment. Last game, of course, was Delhi versus Mumbai, which was again the last game which we'll talk about. Mumbai won by 5 wickets. They had their heart in their mouth for a moment there, but in the end they went over the line. Shikhar Dhawan did come back in form, But are Mumbai looking like a completely balanced side to you at the moment?
Yeah, look, I think Mumbai is the strongest team in the IPL, and having Kieran Pollard there is the job that Maxwell needs to do. You know, he comes in at 5 or 6, gets Mumbai Indians over the line, bowls a few overs, and you know, and is always in the field. So I think that's the difference between Mumbai and Punjab 11. That number 5-6 position is such a crucial position that you need a player there that can get the team over the line, and Kieran Pollard does that, you know, time and time again for Mumbai Indians. Kishan, another youngster who, again, like I'm sure there's one youngster in every IPL team that is shining right now. Now that didn't happen as often. It would always be some of the senior players doing it. But it's just, you know, Sourav Ganguly must be sitting on his chair and thinking, gosh, we have got some exciting talent coming, and what great timing. In 4 years' time, it will be the World Cup in India. They've got this young talent of young players coming through, and Indian cricket seems to be in a very strong place.
That is some lovely insight. I think great observations, Monty. Thank you for talking to us. Before going, of course, I'd like to tell everyone, don't forget to follow Monty's channel on Twitter to again get some great insights as he talked to us. Thank you for watching, everyone. Monty, thank you for talking to us. It's always a pleasure and a privilege talking to you.
Thank you, and I look forward to being on your show again soon.